What happens when an African country succeeds without the help of the West? When a nation rises, breaks the mold, and wins? Not because of the IMF, but in spite of it? Ghana just did something historic. The Ghanaian Cedi has become the world's top-performing currency, beating the almighty US dollar. But instead of applause, Ghana was warned by the IMF. Why? What are they afraid of? In this video, we dive deep into the story the Western media won't tell you. This is not just about economics, it's about sovereignty, power, and a continent reclaiming its future. Ghana has faced economic challenges in recent years: inflation, currency depreciation, and a heavy debt burden. But over the past 12 months, something extraordinary happened. The government took aggressive fiscal steps, prioritized local production, cut unnecessary imports, and brought inflation under control. The result? The Ghanaian Cedi has surged in value. As of this year, it became the best-performing currency globally. This isn't a fluke, it's the result of policy shifts, smart monetary intervention, and renewed local investment. Ordinary Ghanaians began to feel the shift. Prices stabilized. The cost of imported goods fell. Small businesses could finally breathe. But then, just as things began to improve, came the backlash. The International Monetary Fund issued a public warning to Ghana. Their claim? That the Bank of Ghana was manipulating the Cedi by directly injecting liquidity into the economy. Wait, isn't this what central banks are supposed to do in a crisis? Stabilize, support growth? The IMF said such measures could be unsustainable, but the message between the lines was loud and clear. You're not allowed to win without us. What they call manipulation, others might call economic independence. Former AU ambassador to the US, Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao, wasn't surprised by the IMF's reaction. In a viral speech, she said, "The IMF, World Bank, and all these institutions exist only because developing countries are kept from success. Their survival depends on our failures." She went on to say that African countries are forced to jump through impossible hoops to access loans they may never repay. Traps, not solutions. Dr. Arikana has long spoken against neo-colonial structures. Her words now seem prophetic. And what happened when she spoke too boldly? Sanctions, silence. The Ghanaian government stood firm. Officials defended the central bank's actions and emphasized that the primary goal is economic freedom. Citizens across Accra, Kumasi, and other cities report real improvement. Rents have steadied, fuel prices dipped, grocery bills shrunk. For the first time in years, the economy feels predictable. International investors are paying attention too. Confidence in Ghana is rising, and other African economies are watching closely. A stronger Ghana sets a dangerous precedent for the West. Why? Because it proves that African nations don't need to be financially shackled to institutions like the IMF to succeed. If Ghana can reject dependency and thrive, so can Nigeria, so can Kenya, so can Mali, Burkina Faso, and beyond. This isn't just about Ghana's currency. It's about Africa's power to control its destiny. Let's rewind history. The IMF and World Bank have a long track record of imposing structural adjustment programs that cut essential services, reduce subsidies, and plunge countries into deeper debt. In the 1980s and 90s, many African countries experienced economic collapse due to these policies. Why were those same institutions silent when currencies were collapsing? But now that Ghana is winning, they're concerned? Ghana's victory can be the beginning of a new era. A regional African bank, intra-African trade in local currencies, digital currencies designed for the continent, collaborative monetary policy led by Africans for Africans. This is what the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, aims to support. This is Pan-Africanism in practice. Ghana has shown us what happens when a country dares to dream differently. Now the question is, will the rest of Africa follow? Will we allow the IMF to dictate our progress? Let this be a wake-up call to leaders, citizens, and diaspora around the world. Africa can rise. Ghana just proved it. If you believe in Africa's right to economic independence, hit that like button, comment below, Should Ghana listen to the IMF or keep pushing forward? Subscribe for more stories on African power, leadership, and the new future we are building. Africa's time is now. Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.
In today's video, we are going to be looking at the shocking news coming out from Ghana. You may ask, how did Ghana's currency, the Cedi, beat the US dollar to become the best currency in the world? What does this sudden move mean for Ghana's economy? And most importantly, what is the IMF's reaction to this huge success? Stay tuned. But before we start, please support us. A couple of weeks ago, the entire world witnessed the unimaginable. An African currency became the world's best performing currency. As we speak, the Ghanaian Cedi has beaten the US dollar and every other currency in the world. It is currently ranked as the best currency on the planet Earth. Yes, no cap. In case you are just hearing about this for the first time, the Ghanaian Cedi has shocked the world. On August 28, 2023, the Cedi became the best performing currency in the world. Currently, the Cedi is the best performing currency year to date, recording the highest appreciation against the US dollar on Earth. Today, it stands as the #1 currency in the world. The Ghanaian Cedi is the world's best performing currency since January 2023. Since January till date, the Cedi has shown the highest increase in value compared to every other currency in the world. As we speak, the Cedi is leading the pack and it has shown no sign of slowing down. This is an amazing feat and a huge success for the Ghanaian economy. But how did this happen? How did the Cedi record such high success despite all the economic crisis happening in Ghana? Like seriously, how did this happen? Ghana is one of the countries in Africa suffering from the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war. Even though Ghana is not directly involved in the war, the Cedi, like every other African currency, suffered depreciation. The Russian invasion of Ukraine caused a global inflation crisis. Global supply chains were disrupted, causing more inflation. This war pushed up food prices and energy prices around the world. It caused more pain for Ghanaians. Despite all these hardships, the Cedi still managed to beat the US dollar. As we speak, the Cedi is the best performing currency in the world. Seriously, how did this happen? Now, while many Ghanaians are celebrating this success, the IMF has raised concerns about the sudden surge of the Cedi. According to the IMF, the Cedi is moving too fast. Well, apparently, the IMF wants the Cedi to depreciate so that the currency can look more realistic. This is part of the IMF statement. In recent weeks, the Cedi has come under pressure, depreciating by about 7% against the US dollar in the last 2 months. While the exchange rate pass-through in August appears orderly, developments point to a faster than expected adjustment of the real exchange rate, reflecting in part a large injection of liquidity into the economy. Staff will continue to monitor developments very closely. The passage clearly shows that the IMF is complaining about the strength of the Cedi. The IMF thinks the Cedi has risen too much and too fast, so it is calling on the government to fix the Cedi. Now, tell me, why should the IMF be concerned about the Cedi? Is it a bad thing for Ghana's currency to appreciate in value? Should Ghana listen to the IMF? Let's find out. Now, the IMF is saying that the rise in the value of the Cedi is due to an injection of liquidity into the economy. This simply means that the IMF is accusing the Bank of Ghana of printing more money. And according to the IMF, this is not good for the economy. Here is another part of the statement where they accuse the Bank of Ghana of printing more money. Recent exchange rate movements reflect in part a large injection of liquidity into the economy. In staff's view, this was partly in response to domestic developments, including pressures on the exchange rate and the banking system following the domestic debt exchange, as well as the impact of higher interest rates in advanced economies on the level of foreign holdings of Ghanaian assets. Clearly, the IMF is saying that the Central Bank of Ghana, the Bank of Ghana is printing more money to stabilize the economy. And this is why the Cedi is winning. But this is not good for the Ghanaian economy. Now, even though the IMD is saying that the Cedi is rising due to an injection of liquidity into the economy, there are other factors that are contributing to the rise of the Cedi. First and foremost, the Cedi is rising because of the high demand for the currency. More people are demanding the Cedi than before. This is likely due to the economic recovery that the country is experiencing. This is the first time in the history of Ghana that the Cedi has beaten the dollar. As we speak, $1 equals 10 Cedis. This is the first time this is happening. And until this happened, many Ghanaians were holding dollars because they thought the dollar is strong. But now that the Cedi has proven itself to be stronger than the dollar, more people are trooping to sell their dollars and buy Cedi. This is increasing the demand for the Cedi and making the Cedi stronger. The Cedi is also getting stronger because of the efforts of the Bank of Ghana. The central bank is using various strategies to control the Cedi. We have talked about some of these strategies in our previous videos. So if you haven't watched our videos on how Ghana stabilized their currency, then click on this card right here to watch that video now. The third reason why the Cedi is beating the dollar is because of the new partnership between Ghana and the Islamic Development Bank. Recently, the government of Ghana secured a $1 billion facility from the Islamic Development Bank. The funds are going to be used to help stabilize the Cedi. So far, the funds have helped to stabilize the currency and bring down inflation. As we speak, Ghana's inflation rate has dropped to 40.4%. The goal is to end 2023 with a single-digit inflation rate. And this facility from the Islamic Development Bank is helping them to achieve that goal. Finally, the Cedi's beating the dollar is also due to the hard work of Ghanaians. Since the beginning of this year, Ghanaians have been working tirelessly to grow the economy. Despite all the economic crisis in the country, Ghanaians have not relented in their efforts to grow the economy. Businesses are taking advantage of the digital transformation to reach more customers. As a result, businesses are making more profits. As more businesses make profits, the better the economy becomes. As things stand now, the future looks bright for the Ghanaian economy. Things are improving gradually. We believe that the Cedi will continue to shine. But the question is, should Ghana listen to the IMF? Why should the IMF be concerned about the success of Ghana? Is it a bad thing for Ghana's currency to appreciate in value? Honestly, the IMF is not being sincere. Their agenda is to cripple developing countries. They want African countries to remain poor. If Ghana listens to the IMF, it will only make things worse. Look at what the IMF did to Sri Lanka. They pushed that country into chaos. That country is yet to recover. So Ghana must be careful with the IMF. We believe that the current success of the Cedi is a wake-up call for Ghanaians. They must use this momentum to transform the economy. They must diversify the economy away from dependence on imports. One way to achieve this is to support local businesses. Ghanaians must patronize made-in-Ghana goods. When they do this, more businesses will thrive. More businesses mean more profits and more jobs. And when more people have money in their pockets, they will save more money. This will bring down inflation and increase the value of the Cedi. Looking at what other countries are doing to stabilize their currencies, we believe that Ghana is on the right path. What the government needs to do now is to speed up the process of stabilizing the Cedi. They must make sure that the Cedi beats the dollar by December 2023. This will put Ghana on a trajectory of rapid economic growth. Once Ghanaians see that their currency is stronger than the dollar, they will gain confidence in their currency. This will discourage the excessive use of the dollar. The excessive use of the dollar is what is destroying the Cedi. Most Ghanaians are losing confidence in the Cedi, and that is why they use the dollar more often. If Ghanaians regain confidence in the Cedi, then the Cedi will shine. Now, what do you think about the IMF's reaction to Ghana's success? Do you think Ghana should listen to the IMF? Or do you think the IMF is jealous of Ghana's success? Well, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates. See you next time. Thank you.